Okay, the room is small. Okay, good afternoon. Welcome once again to KubeCon in Shanghai to once again share with the latest progress. So if you participated last year, so actually Hub is announced to come into the heterogeneous program. Okay, I should stand up here. Not used to standing so high above, but I'll just look at this. So in last KubeCon, it was in last November, Hub was announced to enter in this heterogeneous project. So this is the first Chinese project that entered the CSF, and after half a day of practice, our projects are going on, and Hub is now active, so we do have some updates here. We have two speakers today. One is me, Stephen Zhou, core maintainer. The other is Wenkai, also the maintainer of this project. So I just want to mention, actually Wenkai joined this program earlier than before. He is the top one contributor. So if you have more questions, you can ask him. And this is the profile. This is our icon on GitHub. This is the GitHub ID. So today we'll talk about four things. First, I'll just give you the overview of Hub, and then I would elaborate on the 1.8 version functions, and also I will show you the new features in the upcoming v1.9, and also we will talk about in the near future what kind of features is in our roadmap, and then we will come back to talk about community, because this is the open source project and the development of the open source project needs the support of the community, so we'll talk about that as well. So now let's take a look at the overview. After 2 to 3 years development, Hub is already quite functional, so I will introduce to you in four aspects. First, for fundamental, apart from managing the image, the container image, we also support the chart management. So we are the image registry and also the chart repository, and since the Hub is the Docker native Docker reg, we also support multiple consumer, and also we have the identity integration. We can integrate OIDC to finish the authentication or authorization, and also we provide very good management portal to conduct the day-to-day operation, and also we have the REST API so that when you integrate with the system it's easier. We also have the command line, but this is not supported by the official community. It is realized by a contributor. Basically, we support a lot of command lines, but the iteration is not as fast as Hub itself. Apart from fundamental, for operation, maybe I should talk about security first, because this is more critical. And in the enterprise level application, this is quite important, and we do provide a lot of security features. For example, the vulnerability scanning, and this is based on Clear, and we can scan in the Hub as long as you provide the summary and CVE list. And also we have the content trust and notary, so that we can assure the reliability of the image. And also we can use project to do a high-level safe separation. Also we have the distribution policy, so when you distribute image, you can have the safety strategy. For example, you can just distribute the content trust enabled features, and the ones without the enablement, they will be banned. And also for the vulnerability, only the low vulnerability will be distributed. The medium ones and the high ones, the vulnerability will be stopped from being distributed. And also we have the RBAC, the access control. We can use different roles to manage, and also we can entrust them with different capabilities. And also we have the full we have the access log, and it will record everything. And then for operation, we have the strong feature of content replication. So in Hubber, we can put it into another Hubber, and in the 1.8 release, from Hubber to other non-Hubber, we support the image replication. Also, it's two-way from the local to the far end, and also we can go the other way around. And also we have the online GC. So we have some of the dirty detail. We can use online GC rather than use very complex solutions. Also, we have the health check. We have the health check API. With that, we can get the health status of the Hubber, and it will be fed back to you. Then you can integrate with the platform. The other important thing is the CSDC, or the robot account. So you don't need to use your root account. You can just create a robot account on the CSDC. And then for the deployment, we have two ways. One is for the Docker environment. This is offline and online installers. That means all the packages are packed. And the online, that means the image is pulled down. And also we support Helm Chart for the Kubernetes. We can use this chart, and it supports HA solution, and it has some limitation. For example, you need to have the PSC cluster and register cluster, and also we are improving it. Then the typical scenario for Hubber. Actually, for Hubber, when will it be used? So I will introduce to you some of the typical cases. Here in the CSAC, when you submit the code, you would trigger the CI. And actually, for the CI, we have different steps. For example, dev, QE, or staging. There are a lot of registries, but when the build is out, we can replicate it to conduct the test. And actually, we can use different Hubber instances, or just one Hubber instance. And when we transfer the status, we can just publish it to the on-premise top Hubber just as a deployment, and then we can trigger a CD. We can trigger the other command to deploy. Then we can use this on-premise node to replicate it to the fitting nodes registry in different regions. So in different region, the run when we install in runtime, when we set up in runtime, we can just use the closest one so that we can save the traffic, save the cross-node traffic. This is a very typical case. So on the left, that is the development stage. This is the typical image load process. And also, when we deploy the CD, we can use the internet on-premise node, and also we can transfer it to the public registry node. And also, we can just do it very near in runtime, and it covers a lot of scenarios. So let me introduce you the architecture. So this is pure technology then, and now we have different areas. For example, consumer, we have different clients that we support, and all the red slashes are ourselves. For example, web portal. We provide very strong web page-based management capability, and when you enter the core, the fundamental service, we use ingest to conduct API routing. Then we have the REST API that is supported by Bigo, and also we have the authentication and authorization module. We can connect with the ORDRC, and we have the core configuration management. In the past, we have the admin server to cover the user setting and so on, but now in 1.8 we remove that. Now the configuration management is in the core now, and then for namespace, the project management is here, and also replication chart, service, scanner, and trust handler. All of the integration stuff will be done here in the core. Since chart, service, scanner, and trust handler, we also have Relayon and underground framework. So we have some third-party services, for example, Docker registry, the native Docker registry to provide the storage, and also chart museum to store chart, and then Claire to scan notary for signature. And we know that notary is and also other things are one of the projects. And then for job service, we provide the asynchronous execution, and we have the job queue and also the GC controller for the online GC, and also we have logs. We can put it into the relevant system, the compatible system log systems. And also we have the bottom layer. We can use the cache, and also we can use the local and remote storage to use it for the block file and objects, and also the SQL database. So that is the overall. So let's welcome the maintainer Wenkai to talk about the 1.8 feature and 1.9 new features. Thank you. Let me introduce to you briefly about the Harbor 1.8 features. For 1.8.0, it was released in KubeCon in Barcelona on May 21st. Now we have the new release 1.8.1. We fixed some of the existing or known bugs, and you can try the new one. And here is the new feature. For example, the replication. It can be used in different registry or repository to synchronize the image. Before 1.8, we supported already, but we reshaped this function, and in code, 85% is written, and the feature is improved in 3 ways. First, in the past, we just support the synchronous image. Now we support chart. The synchronous image or synchronous chart, or two things at the same time. And the third thing is that we support, well, in the past, we only allow Harbor instances to be synchronized, but now we support the synchronization between Harbor and non-Harbor repository. And now we realized 3 drivers, Docker Hub, Docker registry, and the third one is the Huawei registry. For Docker registry, it's fully compatible to, well, it's a kind of implementation of Docker v2 API. So if there's a repository that uses this API, they can use this driver to replicate. And later we will deliver some new driver implementations, for example, the ACR or GCR or ACR, and also the Ali registry. With the implementation of different registry, we use a very flexible and scalable structure, and if you have the need for other drivers, you can use our portal, and the method is very easy to merge that into the framework, and we can synchronize for different instances. The other thing is OIDC. For a lot of companies, they have their own authentication system. We support the Harbor or ADAP, but now we added the OIDC provider integrations and authentications, and we obey the open ID spec. So if the provider use this kind of spec, then it can seamlessly integrate with Harbor. Then during use, the administrator, when he installs Harbor, he can choose the OIDC. Then on the web UI, they can realize the SSO.
But for Docker client or Helm Chart client, they are not able to redirect or do SSO, so we provide CRL secret to help these clients integrate with AIDC. And internally, Harbor will process CRL secret and its relationship with a token. For verified providers, you'll see Google Identity, DEX, and Pink Federate, which is verified by our end user. And we will increase more providers in the future, for example, Keycloak. And there are other new features. Some have already been mentioned. First is Robert account. User can set up Robert account and empower it with different push authorities so as to better integrate with the CI/CD. Second is a health check to provide uniform API to check the status of the Harbor system. And the third is we refactor deployment scripts, and key value is replaced by YANG format, which can describe structured data in a better way. We removed mid-server and put it in core. And we also integrated API Explorer. On Harbor portal, you can use AI to call Harbor API or use a Harbor API. Next, let me talk about features of 1.9. Our plan is 1.9 will be SA in early August. It will have the four main features. First is quota per project. Many times we have the needs, that is, we want to restrict the number of images or chart under one project. Version 1.9 will provide two metrics. One is the image or chart number. For example, this project has a quota for 1,000 images. Second metric is size. You only allow for 100 G. So there are two matrices. And second is webhook. And this is a very important feature for integrating with the CI/CD. Within Harbor, there will be a lot of events, push, delete image or chart, scanning images and scanning results, whether image has loopholes and replication information through webhook. We can notify Harbor other systems integrated with Harbor so as to connect all workflows. Third is retention policy. When Harbor integrated with the CI/CD, every day they will generate a lot of images, and a lot of images will not be used in the future, but they tie up a lot of storage resources. So we are thinking, is there an automatic way to remove unused images? And retention policy is a feature for this. User can define policy to retain the images they want to use. For example, they want to retain the images pushed within 1 month. So unqualified images will be removed. And the last feature is CVE whitelist. Stephen has mentioned about that. We allow users to define strategies. If they find loopholes with the images, we will not allow users to pull. But if one CVE can be passed, we will use a whitelist to achieve this function. Well, and next I'd like to invite Stephen to talk about our roadmap. We will talk about 1.9. Now, looking forward in the future, what are we going to do? There are two perspectives. One is management, the other extensibility. Management-wise, Management-wise is a Kubernetes operator that is used operator to deploy Harbor because operator is popular right now. So we consider providing Kubernetes operator. Next is a quota per project. In the future, we're going to provide complete quota mechanism. We've talked about storage or chart number or image number. But in the future, we're going to provide more complex metrics. Next is advanced access control. Currently, we using RBAC to do access control. But in the future, we'll have advanced access control based on ABC or resources to realize precise control and logging endpoint. Our C log will is simple. We will use configure mechanism to log it in places where user want, and then is scalability and perf. We will do verification testing to identify vulnerabilities and to improve it, and then ensure scalability. As to extensibility, one is the HA. If you use Harbor, you know that Harbor chart support HA deployment, but there's a limitation. That is, before you use it, you need to prepare HA readiness and CPIC. In the future, we're going to provide a 2.2 package, a complete, simple HA solution to help you set up HA Harbor. And then our security service will be further enhanced. One direction is currently it's a scanning based on CLAIRE. In the market, there will be fancy scanner engine. So in the future, we're going to provide pluggable scanner to help you integrate or connect different scanners to provide scanning service. There are other complex checking or safety-friendly services can be integrated. And next is proxy cache. Many people have talked about that, and we have heard a lot about that. We will put it in our roadmap. So in the future, we're going to provide proxy cache mechanism. We can put it from upstream register, and then P2P distribution. In larger scale runtime distribution, it will put pressure on register through P2P distribution. To some extent, we can reduce workload at a registry and improve distribution efficiency. Especially, it is especially applies for larger scale. So we have done some groundwork, and the P2P distribution mechanism will be completed by the entire community. And then repository beyond image and Helm. Currently, we support image repository and chart repository. In the future, we're going to provide more cloud-native uniform mechanism. Under the same user experience, you can manage different cloud-native contents. In the future, we're going to have cloud-native artifact registry. So this is our roadmap. Successful project requires the community support. So let me talk about Harbor community. And our goal and mission are described here. We are trying to build an open, fair, transparent, and self-governance community. This is our goal. We want our Harbor community to become an open, fair, transparent, and self-governance community. If you are interested in this mission, you can join us. Currently, on GitHub, we have over 8,200 stars, which has proven that Harbor is an open and a fair community and is a popular community. Okay? Although Harbor project itself originated from China, currently it is already going out of China. It has become a global project. So you can see that our contributors members come from 65 companies and 36 countries. We have 126 contributors right now. We have 14 regular maintainers and coming from 5 companies distributed in China and North America. In the future, we'll have more contributors join us. Probably someone here will become our future contributors. As I've mentioned, our goal and mission is to build open, fair, transparent, and self-governance platform. So we'll encourage you to join our community to jointly promote the further development of a harbor. There are several ways of participation. First is end user. You use harbor to support your development or replicate your harbor to your product and deliver it to your customer. If you have any questions, you can open issues on GitHub and harbor community. If you have good experiences, do share with us. Probably your experiences will help other community members facing the same problem. Next, we have bi-weekly community meetings. You are welcome to our community meetings. And if you want to become contributor to our open source project, then you can read a contributing guide to see how to make the first commit. We think that the best starting point is to fix bugs so that you can understand the entire flow. And if you want to introduce better functions, or if you want to change vulnerabilities of harbor, you can follow governance model and put forward proposals. And this, if you want to introduce new changes or make big changes, you need to put forward a proposal. And also, you are welcome to introduce your proposals at community meetings. And if you want to become maintainer, then you need to make a significant, commits like significant features change, and you need to review PR, and you need to share your views about release plans. You need to review and contribute to release plans, and you may even make presentations on behalf of our community, just like me and my colleague here. And as a maintainer, you may also need to host community meetings to talk to your community members. A few words about workgroups here. Kubernetes have 6 and workgroups. I think workgroups are a good way for different companies and different teams to talk to each other on a common problem or issue. So in Harbor, we have set up several worker groups. Replication is our first worker group. Replication worker groups actually come from 5 different companies, and we have refactored replication. You can see that now the functions are much stronger than before, and we have just set up a scanning worker group to improve security service capabilities. So we have a scanning worker group. Its first topic is provide pluggable scanner framework so that Harbor can be integrated with other scanners. And this product is made by 2 companies from America, Anchor and Acor, who are experienced companies in security. I believe that in the near future, you will see the result of this work group. And we also have a notification webhook deliver is also the joint results of several companies, and LCM include tech repetition and also P2P distribution. This requires a larger work group. You may be interested in P2P distribution, and a lot of colleagues have joined this project. And there are more ways to get involved. If you have any queries or questions, or if you have new requirements, or if you have ideas about new features, if you want to discuss with our maintainers, you are more than welcome to do so. You can use mailing list, Slack, or Twitter to talk to us. And we encourage you, if you have ideas, if you have contents, or if you have good experiences or ideas to share with us, do follow our community meetings. And in addition, we have set up a demo. If you want to try Harbor, you can go to a demo environment.
Okay, that is our presentation. And now is the Q&A time. If you have any questions. Okay, I just want to ask, because our company also has the team using Harbor. Now, in most of the environment, the version is 1.6, and now we see the 1.8 upgrade, and also for the repository, synchronization is enhanced. So, during work, normally we cannot just upgrade everything to 1.8. So, when we upgrade some part of the system, can it be compatible? So you mean the replication between different versions of Harbor, right? On a certain level, doesn't have a problem, but we cannot guarantee that, because they are two different architectures and different implementations. Yeah, we followed the V2 portal, so technically shouldn't be any problems, but we will test. Okay. The second question. You showed us the OpenID. You support Kicklock, right? So is it in 1.9 or it's not in 1.9? But in the future we will support that. So for OIDC, we follow the spec, OpenID spec. So if the provider follow the spec, on some level it's the same. It should connect, but we didn't verify. So we hope that if you use different providers, maybe you can try to configure according to us, and it may be able to communicate, and then we can put that on our supported list. Sometimes we need to do verification to know that. If it's not standard OpenID spec, then we don't support it. So maybe we can verify and then communicate with the community. Yeah, the p-Ceterit, the user in the community verified that, and then they list it in the community. Yeah, because that is also another very famous management platform. Any other questions? Thank you for the sharing. At first you mentioned the multi-environment management, so we can have different harbors in different environment, or we can have one harbor in different projects. What is your suggested approach? So there is no suggested approach, because the scales differ. If you can use the project to reach the scale and it's easy to manage, then it's fine. But if your team is very big, maybe setting up a independent harbor instance, that would be best practice. But if you use different projects and you can reach the same target, then it's okay. It depends on your own scale, and it depends on your own demand. Thank you. Any other? 1 minute. We just started using Harbor. I think it's really easy to use, and thank you. And Harbor is developing pretty fast. And in the future, do you have any plans to lose weight? So where is the weight? For scanning and content trust, that is optional. You can opt out. So according to the GitHub manual, we installed that, and there are a lot of components. Maybe in the future it will get even more. Well, how do I put it? For the microservice, of course there will be more, but if you don't think it's needed and if you think it's too much, you want to have one container or one node or single node, you can do it. I mean, it's hard to answer. There is no plan to get to lose weight, but we have that roadmap. But of course, you can have your own build if you want to get slimmer, because it's open source. You can refer to the relevant build. You can build it to a more lightweight option. Thank you. So we can discuss offline. Thank you.